Okay, today we are making beef burgundy. It's a beef stew. We have some chuck roast, we have some bacon, onions, carrots, thyme, bay leaf, we have a little pepper, salt, red wine, garlic cloves, olive oil, a little flour, beef stock. That's pretty much it. I've made beef stew before. I've never made beef burgundy before. The difference would be I don't usually braise my stuff. At the beginning, what we need to do is bring our Dutchie to medium. Just a medium, because we're gonna sear some stuff off. So I'm just gonna let this heat up for a little bit. I'm not really gonna look at it. We're gonna do half this huge onion for this. You could do, I mean, you know, you can do more onion if you want, but this is a humongous white onion. Just cut it root to stem. I waited to do this until you guys were here because some people need help cutting onions. You need to, in order to make food that really bangs, we need to be able to cut correctly. So, root to stem, I like to cut this part off just because there's not much, this is papery kind of oniony stuff there. And then we'll just take the outside, get that paper off there. I'm actually filming this after streaming. So we've already smoked a little bit, you know. So you can do this. You don't need to be at the top of your game to make this dish. You're gonna do just fine. So we're gonna dice this, medium dice, so you can kind of see how big the onion would be if we did the whole thing. Look. So we're gonna cut this horizontally twice, so we get decently organized dices, and then we're gonna do this about the width of these carrots. So you can see, like, that's about 1, it's about 2, and 3. About the width of the carrot this way too. So you can see like this. I'm not cutting all the way through because I want this top flap to be intact. Do this. It doesn't have to be like 100% perfect, but you're gonna get much more. I mean, it does if you're in like a French restaurant, but we're not in a French restaurant. You're in your house. I mean, this one has like a, I don't like that membrane. Some of that might come off. That's okay. So yeah, some of them are already coming out in chunks. So just like this. This isn't a small dice. This is a nice medium dice situation. Oops. Oh yeah. I probably should have taken one more layer off. Here, we'll just do that right now. If that happens, you see how I kind of got this like membrane-y part? You can still eat this. It's just like not as sturdy. Anyway, get rid of that. There you go. We get down to the end, and then we turn it over. And we can get this going again. There you go. That's how you break down an onion. We'll put it all in here. This is also just getting all my ingredients. I should have got a bench scraper, but I didn't. Just bring it all in. Next, we're going to, after I'm done crying, we're going to put together, we're going to render down some bacon, and then we're going to sear our beef. All right, the next thing we have to do is take some bacon and render it down. This is a ½ pound. This is 3 pounds of chuckered, so. Now, normally, what I do, these aren't all from the same spot. Normally what I do is I render something like this in the oven. But today we're not going to do that. We actually want this to make contact with the pot here because we're going to use this to cook our meat in. So I do it this way. Cut it in long ways. Get a little bit better uniform cut on that. And then we're just going to cut, you know, something like this. We're not going to get these super cooked down because we want them, we're gonna braise this bacon as well. So we're gonna render some of this out. We're not gonna cook this all the way like crispy. It's gonna continue to cook in the process later, but we are gonna cook it down a decent amount. We're gonna do the same thing here. Cut it this way. I'm just gonna put it on here. Put it down the middle. You gotta have a sharp knife. There you go. And same thing. Doesn't have to be pretty or anything. This has been preheating for a little bit. And then we're gonna just render nice big pieces of bacon fat. All right, we're gonna put all the kids in the pool at this point. And we're going to let this start cooking down. They'll start to break apart as the fat dissolves, liquefies. And so the goal here is to get a nice rendered out bacon. We're gonna cut up the chuck now. I'm just gonna do that right now. You don't have to really cut for this. It's all real time. As you can see, brown chuck is kind of cheap. And that's good, because that's what this is for, is a nice cheap cut of meat. How much is this? I guess this was 24 bucks, not that cheap, but it's a lot. You can do a lot here. Not the cheapest, but a lot of food, I guess, for the price. We want to cut, we don't want all this fat, because it's just too much. So we want to cut out around the big pieces. You can save it if you want to, like, keep some beef fat on hand for, I don't know, some other application. Yeah, I'm just going to cut all the way down here. You can kind of let the meat tell you where to go. You can feel it where to go in there. As you can see, it's already got like a decent amount of marbling on this. If you don't do this step, you don't clean this, you will have big old fat deposits in the stew at the end. And no one wants to eat that. Cut this even better. There we go. And I'm just going to cut into chunks about like this. We'll keep these some fatty pieces. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect or anything. Keep that off. Like this. Almost done. In fact, you can kind of pull it apart in certain spots. There we go. I don't want to waste too much, but you don't have to be super finicky about it. Just these big knots of fat. And then, you know, we want them all decent stew size. They're going to break down as we cook, but we want them like, you know, a nice chunky bite. I'm gonna toss this. Stir these real quick. So you see how they're sticking? That's what we want. This is why we cook it in here. You see how they're not breaking apart a little bit? See how I'm going around the pot, scraping stuff up? I don't want them, you know. We're gonna create some fond this way, but we're also going to promote like an even cooking. I'm gonna get more rendering. There we go. Just leave that up there. Now, I watched a couple videos on this to see whose recipe I liked. I usually like someone like Brian Lagerstrom or something. I didn't really think his recipe was as good as Sip and Feast, which is essentially, that's essentially the one I was looking at. A very good YouTube channel. The guy's really talented. That's good enough. Roughly like that. Something like this, like that. There we go. Anyway, I thought about, I feel like it was under-seasoned, even in the Sip and Feast one. I could be wrong. So my inclination is to right now salt this meat. But it didn't go down that way in the video. I'm wondering if it's an oversight. But it also might not be, because we're going to dredge this in flour. If I salt it right now, moisture's going to leak out. It's going to come out of this because the salt's going to pull moisture out of the meat. And that will affect the dredge as we put more moisture into it. I'm not a super big fan of what I'm feeling in this section. There we go, we'll just cut that out. There we go. All right, that's pretty much it for that. This is still going. You can kind of hear how it gets less violent over time. You can hear, you know, this is obviously not broken down enough. I mean, I guess that's obvious, I don't know. There's still white parts. We want a lot of this white here to turn brown and for more fat to be collecting in the bottom of this. I don't want to go too hard though. I'm going to turn it on just a touch because I don't want to evaporate too much of that out. Now I want to pat this meat dry. And I'm just going to go with my gut and salt it here. I don't think it'll affect the dredge that much. So we're going to salt this, let it sit for a second while I finish this up. And literally, I guess we could just do that now. So salt this just so it is seasoned throughout. I am also going to, we're gonna toss this, move these around, get both sides. This is just, we want to season it when we cook, usually every step, or at least most steps. Sometimes it's a technique thing. I don't think this is going to affect my browning too negatively. Oh, I want to pat it dry first. I think we'll do just fine on that front. I just want to make sure that this is well seasoned. Yeah. So, we're not doing anything crazy here. All right, so this is going to sit here for a second. I'm going to keep stirring this. We're going to cut back to when this is rendered out. All we're going to do is let this render down. I'm going to put it on some sheets of paper to, drain. And then we'll have this nice bacon fat. We're going to sear this meat in. So we're going to take the meat, dip it in this flour, shake it off, sear it. It's going to be awesome. All right, we'll be back. All right, our bacon has rendered. It's not like 100%. You can still see that there's plenty of fat on these pieces of bacon. But I don't want to let them go too much longer, just a second. We're gonna set our ovens to 350 now, and we're gonna let that start to come up. These have been salting a little bit. You can see that they've released a little bit of moisture. If you let them sit longer, of course that's gonna happen. We're gonna keep them patted just because the salt draws out the moisture. This is good though, because we wanna draw the moisture out to improve our browning. We don't want to just be boiling the water on the meat. We want to be actually cooking it. So let's do first things first. I'm actually going to use a combination spider and a wooden spoon for this. Just set this over here for now so I have a better surface. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the bacon and pile it on to a spider because I want to preserve as much of the fat as we can and not donate it all to the paper plate, paper towel rather. Okay. Smells bacony. And you can see we left enough uncooked, I guess. It's not super well done bacon. We left it that way because we're going to continue to cook as the stew cooks in the oven as it braises. And if it's a little chewy now, it'll have a little bite to it later. It'll add positively to the texture of the whole experience. So this is good. There we go. You could also use like a, I don't know, fork, tongs, however you want. Okay, so now we have a good set of bacon. We're gonna let that spread out on there, get all unoily. We'll set this aside over here. We'll add this much later in the process. This is for my finished beef. So you there. Let's dredge some beefy boys. So we're letting this get a little bit warmer. Oh, also I need tomato paste in a little bit. I thought I had a squeezy canister of tomato paste, but I only have, let's do the opposite of what I just did. Let's do that. All right, so these are pat dry. We just want to toss them in flour. And then, you could use 2 sheets. I'm going to use 1 sheet because I'm going to do this kind of in quick succession. We just want to knock off the excess flour. A couple more dredged. This is going to help browning. This is going to help produce fond on the bottom. It's going to help thicken the stew later. This is, by the way, a half cup, or no, yeah, a quarter cup of flour, I believe. I can double check my notes. I actually have them right here. A quarter cup. Wait. I'm stupid. Half cup. Quarter cup of tomato paste. Half cup of flour. Anyway, we're taking this, we're gonna end up dumping the rest of this into here later as well. We don't want to overcrowd the bottom of this, so we're gonna start getting like this one going. Okay, and we're gonna try to get these nice and seared. You can't really, don't burn them, but don't be scared. We're gonna put color on this. This is gonna be really, really good for our finished product. We're building flavor here. Texture is gonna be better if we do this. You don't want too much flour. Make sure to knock it off at this stage. Now what's going to happen as we cook this, we're going to get really good development of fond. Do one right here, and then we'll do one more right here. Okay, and we're going to let those go. And, I don't know, 2-3 minutes aside. We're going to try to do all the sides. They should come together pretty quick. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit because we want to get a good sear on them. You can see how much fat's in here. I'm not going to show you the whole process because my battery won't last that long. We're just going to do one batch, and then I'll just do the rest. But when I'm done with them, I'm going to take them, pull them out, set them on here. Juices are going to collect on here. We want to keep all of those juices. You can even use a bigger platter, another one of these quarter sheets or something. And then we're going to take all that and dump it into the stew when it's time. It'll come together pretty easy. Not so bad. Yeah, we're not far enough yet. We want like a nice, good sear. I'll put this here. Nice sear. You'll be able to hear it. You'll be able to smell it. So I'll be back when these are ready to, flip, and I'll show you and stuff. All right, should take a couple minutes. That's what we're looking for. Here we go, you can see it. See that beautiful? Let's flip to the other side. Oh yeah, nice, crispy. There we go. Nice browning. Beautiful color. So we're going to develop that on both sides, on all of this, and at the end of that, we're going to start doing carrots, onions, garlic, and then it's going to come together really fast. So this is really the most time-intensive period, is just browning this meat. This has probably taken me, I don't know, what time is it now, 1:54? This won't take that long. It's going to come together quick, maybe half an hour to an hour of active time if I'm not filming. Beef seared. It's looking, sounding, and smelling good. Remember, we're not cooking this all the way through or anything. I got little pieces. Beautiful. It actually got a nice amount of fat off of that bacon. Much more than I expected. Okay, so we have some stuff on the ground, on the bottom of this. You take your wooden spoon through here, you can feel it feels like gritty. That's good. This is fond. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is to get some color on the carrots. These are just baby carrots. You can also just like cut up some carrots. We're gonna toss those in. We're just gonna toss them in. Let the carrots get a little color on them. And then we're gonna cut up this garlic now. I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna mince them. Actually, fuck it. Let's just do it this way. It doesn't have to be particularly good. You can grate it. You can really get finicky with it, but you really don't need to. Just rough mince some garlic. You can also do this really thin, or you can, like I said, you can, if you grate it, it'll have some different flavors. But this is about 6 cloves. You can do it to taste, more or less garlic. It's up to you. There we go. And then just take it and, by the way, I did wash this knife. Let's go across. Again. Just do a couple passes. I'll do 1 or 2 more. And kind of identify the big chunks in there and go over it a couple times. I always try to aim for something in there. It's not just random. Trying to cut specific pieces. And then before you know it, you have all this beautifully cut garlic. Okay, so that is our garlic in a second. These carrots have taken on some color, but we don't want them to go too much further. That's pretty much good. Use the tongs to grab these boys. Just gonna set them aside. Now they have a nice little bit of that bacon fat on them. We're gonna keep cooking a little bit in here. Okay, now it's time for the onions. I had the lid on here so the fumes didn't get me. All right. Immediately, onions start going. Add a little salt to help them get happy in there. Release some of their water. That's gonna help deglaze it. You can see it's picking up all these little flavors off the bottom. You want to scrape with your spoon while you do this. Pick up all the flavors. All right, now that smells good. All right, so we're gonna let that go for a little bit. That's gonna get happy, and then we're gonna take the garlic's gonna go in. We're gonna get that going. Then we're gonna put the carrots in. It's gonna start coming together pretty quick. We're gonna put the not all of this, but some of this, about a quarter cup or so, half cup. We're gonna put tomato paste in there. Then after that gets going, we're gonna deglaze it with some wine, and then we're gonna add some beef stock, and then we're gonna add this, and then we're gonna braise the whole thing. Pop this on top. By the way, I made a little. I used a thyme stem to make the tie for this. That was cute. A couple bay leaves. This is my favorite part, man. You know we're about to make something good. It's very zen-like. It's calming for me. If you don't like cooking, you should give it a try. You should just... I think most people don't like cooking because it seems daunting. But if you watch a few of these and you cook along, you'll start to realize that we kind of do the same thing over and over. We're looking for Maillard reaction. We're searing. There's some braise action in this particular recipe. You know, the dredging of the flour. You do that in lots of different recipes. A lot of the same things over and over. See how I go around the edges, by the way? Get stuff off the sides. Wait, everything can interact with each other. Beautiful. All All right. Remember, this is just the bacon grease from before. We haven't gotten into olive oil or anything yet. You couldn't do this with olive oil. If you don't want to use the bacon, that's fine. You could do it with butter, I guess. It'll all be a little bit different, but I'm sure it's been done. You just need a fat, really. It's coming along. We want these to be a little bit further along than this. You can try one at this point if you want to know. You want it to be cooked through. Yeah. That's close. At this point, we can add the garlic. Oops. Let's grab some of that off there. There's some on the back of the knife. Oh no. Okay. Just use the side of the knife to scrape it up. You can also use a bench scraper. Okay. Do a little more salt. This is going to need more salt throughout it. And then you'll be able to smell this garlic open up pretty quick. It only takes about a minute or so to cook this through. Oh yeah. Really start smelling it. This is a lovely dish. This is going to make the house smell good all day. Also, not for nothing, but this is actually better the more it sits around. So day one, it's actually not going to be as good as it was if you let it sit in the fridge or something and then heat it up the next day. It'll be even better. And it'll get better throughout the week, honestly. It'll just get more delicious. All right, add some carrots now. All that juice in there. Turn those around. We're gonna get the tomato paste in here in just a second. But I don't want the garlic to go too far. You can burn this and it'll just be icky. I'll use this knife. Like a little bit more. That looks good. You just eyeball it. Okay. Okay, now we want to mix this throughout. So we're going to cook this tomato paste a little bit. See how everything gets covered. Delish. You can start to smell the aroma of those tomatoes. It'll smell acidic and bright. Delightful. All right. Make sure you get it off the spoon. Get it mixed in. Let that cook a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Got the bacon we're gonna add at the end. Okay. So we're gonna add about 3 cups of this wine. I'm gonna let this cook down a little bit more, but about 3 cups of this wine. It's gonna help us scrape the bottom off. You can't just dump all this in at the same time if you want, but I'm gonna do it just a little bit at a time so I can make sure that I'm deglazing properly. You can kind of feel it happen. It'll also reduce a little bit if you do it like this. Okay, so we want like just to the bottom of the label or so. A little bit more. You see it's already becoming like silky. Okay. Alright. Keep going. Keep going. We got more. Keep going. A little bit more. And then a sip for you. So you're supposed to put the flour in first. All right. Beef stock. Spun around. And then all this. There we go. Okay. Drop the bouquet in there. That. We need our bacon. Get everything in. Get it all incorporated. Okay, now, here's what we do. We're gonna take this, place the lid on it, put it in the oven, and then we're not gonna touch it again for 2.5 or 3 hours. Here we go. Right there. Done. All right, so we'll be back in 2.5, 3 hours. See how it looks. We want it to be falling apart. We want it to be looking good. And it should be decadent and delightful. All right, 3 hours has gone by. Oh, that smells really good. All right. Oh, don't take these off before I put it. Sarah made some rice. Oh, it should look delicious. And it do look delicious. Oh man, there's no way you could really try this right now, but oh yeah. Oh, all right. I can feel that there's like yummy, yummy goodness. You can see how silky it is. I mean, you know, you look at this, you can see how much this fucks. Like it's sticking to this. Oh yeah. It probably needs, at this point though, it probably needs salt. Oh yeah, there's stuff. Oh yeah. Dude, I'm telling you. Okay, so let's check the meat and see how done it is. I can already see it's like falling apart a little bit. You don't want to overcook this. You just want it to be like tender and nummy. So see this. I mean, you can just see how beautiful this is. I'm just gonna take this knife. Probably could have used a fork or something, but I just want to. Oh yeah, with very little effort, you can see it just pulls right off. I'm gonna taste it. It's probably, like I said, needs some salt, but I did salt these before it went in. It's gonna be fucking blazing hot, but you can also taste a spoon. It's pretty well seasoned, honestly. Let me try this. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it needs a goddamn thing. I think it's delicious. It's got nice acid from the wine. We put enough salt in there. I think with the onions, I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit, but. Oh man, this is good. I will add, yeah, I'm gonna add a little salt. Just a little bit more. I'm gonna let this sit around for a little bit. Oh yeah. There's also some thyme and a bay leaf. You can see here. I'll take the bay leaf out. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna let that sit around. I am going to let this come all the way down to room temperature. I'm gonna leave the lid on. I'm gonna let this come all the way down to room temperature, and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow, when I want this, I'm going to bring it up to heat. It'll be even better than it is today. And, I mean, I might have a little bit tonight, you know. But we're going to finish this with some sauteed pearl onions and mushroom boys. That's going to make it even better. I mean, I could do that right now and let it sit in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do that later. Because I am not going to eat this now. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can just see how deep it is. This is why it's called beef burgundy. It's burgundy. It's also well, they call it burgundy for the wine, but... Oh, yeah. Just that little bit of salt. Eat this with your face holes. Make this. I'll show you a bowl in a little bit. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. It's been a couple days. The beef burg has been in the fridge. It's really delicious. I had a bowl the night of, and then I had a bite just a second ago. It's heating in the oven at like, it's going to rise up to 200 degrees and just sort of sit there for a minute with the lid on, just to get re-liquefied. But this will be good on like 2 or 3 reheats, as long as you don't overcook it the first time. But to finish it, we're going to do something that is pretty fun. Make it real delicious and pretty and stuff. We're gonna put some color on some pearl onions. Oops. Some pearl onion boys. I skinned all these. Well, I guess almost all. There we go. Except for one, because I wanted to show you how I do it. You cut off the little bottom. They have little bottoms. And then you just take them, cut the little tops off, and I do this. Now, you can get the frozen ones that already have the skins off, but, oops, I went too far. That's okay. Either way, you just sort of like pop them open, just like little onion boys. But the easiest way, after doing a bunch of these, is just take them and sort of like use your knife on the top, pop them off. Anyway, we're gonna make those. This has got to get preheated. We're also going to get some herbs. So I got some thyme. We're going to use with the mushrooms. We're also going to quarter these mushrooms, get some color on those as well. And they're going to look awesome. So we're going to do this. My chef knife is, well, I guess I could use it up there, but honestly, for quartering mushrooms, I like a smaller knife. You can use whatever you want. Paring knife would work fine. They don't have to be like perfect or anything. I already washed these and put them in a salad spinner to get the stuff off, and then I took the stems off as well. You don't have to take the stems off, but I find that sometimes the stems are quite woody from the store if you don't go to like a good market. Like if you get like high quality shroomies, dude, then go ahead and leave your stemmies on. I mean, you can leave them on anyway. Just a me thing. Actually, I guess it depends on what the stems look like, but mine were looking a little woody, but these caps look good. Okay, I am going to use my chef knife for the parsley. We're just going to keep that here. Well, okay. So normally what you would do, and I'll make one bowl really pretty. You would serve this little topping. You can mix it in, or you can top the bowls so they all look like pretty. But I'm just gonna like put the leftovers into the fucking pot right with it. So let's just get our thyme ready. If you've never seen thyme before, you've only seen it like I think I have some ground thyme or something. It comes on a stem like this. They can get much drier than this. You could grab some and hang it, and it'll last forever. But you just take it and you run your fingers in the opposite direction. Sometimes the tops are tender and they pull off. Run it in the opposite direction. Down the stem. There we go. And we'll start pulling off. There we go. If you don't know what the thyme tastes like, if you smell it, you'll recognize the flavor in stuff like pot pies and other sort of like grandma dishes. But also in all sorts of these like French sort of stews and stuff. I put thyme in a lot of stuff. Chicken, it's really good on. If you're not a fresh herb enjoyer in general, I really strongly suggest you go towards fresh and away from the dried stuff. They do taste different. Now I use it sometimes in place of Just run your knife over it a couple times, get it all. You don't have to really break it down that much, but there we go. So it breaks up a little bit. How's this doing? Not quite there yet. Got some olive oil too. Oopsies. Oopsies. You can make oopsies in the kitchen. Don't put that one in there though. Leave that one there. That one's the floor one. The floor guts that one. And then this is parsley. Mmm, delicious. Smells herby and delightful. When I made this, I actually didn't have this parsley. I went to the store since I made this. If I did have it, I probably would have taken some of those stems, chopped them up and tossed them in there too. When I put the thyme and stuff in there earlier, as you saw in the video, because you were paying attention to how to make beef bourguignon, beef burgie. Anyway, so this will be for some color and flavor at the end. There we go. Perf. Okay, this just about now has enough on there. Let me just put this back up. Just about enough heat. Get a little bit of olive oil in there. It doesn't have to be a ton. Get it going a little bit. Turn it up just a touch more. I want to get through the process a little bit. Don't be scared of a little heat. In fact, if I had gas, I might go higher, so I might as well just go higher here. Aw, Darwin, you can't come in here. Ellie, don't crawl into the kibble box. Oh no. Alright, I'm going to turn the oven off because I had already preheated this up a little bit, but I'm just going to let the carryover keep that going and good. We can pull it out in a little bit so you guys can look at it. Heats up really nicely. Okay, so we're going to drop these onions in there. Okay, get them all coated. Beautiful. And now, just going to move them. Let's not move them too much and let them get a little color on them. They're going to dance around a little bit. That's okay. We're going to keep them in this as well. There we go. Don't want to move them too much, just so they blister a little bit on the sides, improve the flavor. So we're gonna put some color on these, take them out, then we're gonna add the mushrooms, get color on those. I'm actually gonna add some salt to them to pull it out and to season them. But then we're gonna add these back in, and they're gonna go a little bit more, and we're gonna add herbs and stuff at the end. You can kind of hear it and smell it. You can see how already quite quickly they're gaining color. I'm gonna use my hands. You don't have to use your hand if you're not comfortable with it, but I'm gonna. If you're scared of the heat, I understand why you might not, but you spend enough time in the kitchen, you start doing shit like that. If I was cooking for you, I'd do this too. I'd touch the shit out of your food. That's how you cook. Sometimes you gotta touch it. Alright, I think these are, I honestly don't need much more color on there. 7's actually too hot right now. We're gonna go back down. This steel is really good at conducting heat. So, alright, we're just gonna dump them in. Just gonna go right now. And while these are going, we can pull out the beef burgie and take a look at it and how delicious it is. Okay, so we want these down, and I kind of want, okay, I'm gonna toss them a little bit. There you go, you toss them because you're good at stuff. And then we're just gonna let them all sort of nestle in, just enough in there so that all of them make sort of good contact. And we're just gonna let them sit so that we're not gonna touch them too much so that they get a little color on them. Let's get the beef, the boeuf. It's really good. Oh man, it smells amazing. Now depending on the wine, you're gonna get different flavors, so try it a couple times, you know? Make a couple different ones. I don't wanna burn my hands off, huh? Maybe we still need that. Just a second. Oh yeah. You could see, oh jeez. You can just see how good and rich it is. Like, you can see the fat. Oh. Now, if you're not a stew eater, you might be like, man, that looks like just a bunch of stuff. You can also see how the pieces of meat have started to break off because I dug in here a couple times. I'm gonna try it right now. This is so delicious, you know. Just have it, give it a little tasty. See if I can describe. It's perfectly edible, just like this. You don't need all this shit. It's just real pretty like this. Beefy. That onion comes through, but like the onion melted right in. I don't even know where it's at. Can't detect it with my face. All right, these. Oh yeah. Let's move around. These got some color on them. I can smell it. Yeah. Okay. You don't need more oil in this. They can do kind of dry. Mushrooms have a lot of moisture in there, so. Okay. In fact, right now is when I'm going to put a little salt. Okay. Just because. There we go. All right. We'll go a little bit more. And this is going to come together pretty quick now. We're pretty much done. I just want these to be a little less toothsome, a little more cooked through. Oh, we're also going to add some butter to this. We're going to cook down a little bit more. Okay. All right. So I guess first things we'll add this to the bowl. Nice big chunky pieces of beef. Some of them bite-sized, some of them you gotta sort of like pull at with your spoon or something. They're so good and hearty though. That's what you want. At least that's what I want. You can cut them smaller if you want. It's fine. If I had bigger carrots, you'd see them better in this. You can also see like sometimes there's thyme or whatever. There we go. It's a good hearty bowl of stew. All right, we're gonna add these boys. Toss these a little bit around a little bit more. Yeah, ready to go. That salt really helps pull out some water. You can see how they're starting to glisten and stuff. That's just by adding some salt. And obviously, I mean the heat too, but there you go. Let's do that. Gonna mix together a little bit. Let's get our butter out. Now I had some real yellow butter, but now I only have white butter. You can do more or less than me. Just whatever, how much butter you want. I'm gonna add more in a sec. We'll see. I think this will be enough though. So I want the butter to sort of coat everything, and then I'm gonna toss. We're gonna cut the heat, essentially. Toss herbs. All right. You add that. Here we go. Okay. We're cooking, baby. Let's toss some of that. So this is how you make beef bourguignon. Bourguignon. Beef burgundy, dude. It's burgundy beef. It's delightful. We're gonna keep cooking. I want these onions to cook through a little bit. Also, if you do this when you first, you can do this step like day one. Of course, you can do it like I'm doing. You can also just take all these. I would put the color on them, but you can add this to the pot. I wouldn't have this braise with this. I would finish like this as well. But you can add it to the pot and then let it finish cooking together for another half hour or so, if you want, or 20 minutes, something like that. Let everything cook through and meld together. Like I'm gonna dump some of this right into there. Yeah, I mean, this is just about ready to go. Let it cook a little bit more. So good. Do a little bit of parsley right here. Put a little bit more on top in a sec. Okay. All right, let's toss the herbs on there. Got a dog hair. I'll put the dog hair in there. Unless you want to, that's fine, I guess. You can, optional dog hair if you have a dog. It's totally optional for this recipe. Okay. You can also stir it, but genuine, I'm not like flexing. This is just how, I mean, I'm a little bit, but right when I say that, you know, you spill one, but you gotta taste it anyway. Well, yeah. That's so good. Okay. So, some of this, we're gonna put in ours. Split it up a little bit. So this is, if you want to be fancy, you know, impress your friends or your mom, or have people over for dinner or something. You just want to be like, oh, look at this pretty thing I made. You know? Okay. The rest of this, I'm putting in here to serve me later, and I'll just mix that right in. So you can see how it looks in its, you know, many styles. You can just do it like this. Totally valid. You could also do like more roasted garlic cloves. You could do green onions. I don't know, just go crazy. This is more trad, I guess. Do a little bit more of this. Just for the top. A little sprig on Sprig Mountain. And chat, I mean, there you have it. Beef burgie. Totally delicious. So good. I'm gonna take a picture of this bowl, so I'm gonna eat out of this one. But we'll get a little mushroom, a little of that, with the same kind of bite. The pearl onions, don't skip it. Don't skip this in the mushrooms. It changes it. It makes it so much better. I mean, you can skip it, but don't do it. You know, like it's legal. But you know. That just makes me so happy. That's a really good piece of. This might be the best stew I've ever made. It's so good. You should make this. The only thing I would change about how I showed you how to do it is I put flour in after I put the wine in. Now, it doesn't really matter if you whisk it in really quick like I did, because it cooks so long, it's going to cook all the flour out anyway. But I normally added it before I added the wine, like right before I added the wine earlier. But other than that, I mean, you know, that's just a technical skill thing. Amazing. This is so good. Make it for your friends and family. If you're a vegan, don't make it. You shouldn't make this without the beef. This is how it works. It's just so good. Next thing I do have to make is vegan, though. We're gonna make some dal tadka. Well, mostly vegan. If you have vegan butter at the end, optional. Anyway, this is so good. Beef bourguignon. Make it. It's French, so it's real fancy.